Morning Year 7, this is our third and final food cook along throughout lockdown. I hope you've really enjoyed the first two. So just a quick recap, we made pineapple upside down cake, then we made a batch of scones, and now we're going to end with something a bit more nutritional and a bit more something that is good for the hot weather right now, and it's a pasta salad, okay? So as I've said previously, if you don't want to make it throughout the actual video, so you're not doing it live with me, that's absolutely fine. Just obviously watch the recording later on and you can then take it at your own speed, but you're still going to learn the skills and develop the skills that I would be teaching you if you were in school, okay? If you want to do it live, absolutely brilliant, that's fine. I'll try and take my time with it. I'll try and talk you through everything. And then once you've made it, as I said over the past 2 weeks, please share your pictures with us through Share My Homework or send them to a technology teacher, because we'd love to see them, or even tag us in our Twitter account, which is at _MHS technology. Okay, it'd be great to see the work that you are doing for us at home. So I'm just going to clarify what equipment we're using and what ingredients we're going to be using today, and then we'll make a start with it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is that I've got two chopping boards here. I've got a green one and I've got a brown one. Now, in our school, we try and make sure that we are following as many catering standards as possible. And one of the ways of doing this, and to make sure that we have a good level of food hygiene, is by using coloured coding chopping boards, okay? So I want you to have a little think, and I want you to tell me, I'm going to give you a 3-second kind of silence, what type of food group do you think we will be using on a green chopping board? So if you said it's fruit or salad vegetables, spot on, you've done that well, okay? And a lot of all the coloured chopping boards are linked to a particular food group. So again, the brown one, I'll give you 3 seconds to have a shout out if you know what food group you should only prepare on brown chopping boards. Yes, it is vegetables, okay? For blue, it is fish or seafood. For red, it is raw meat. And for yellow, it is cooked meat. For white, it is your bakery and dairy products. And a new one, which was released 2 years ago, is a purple chopping board. And the purple chopping board is for any one of the 14 most popular allergens. So if you were using celery, if you were using mustard seeds, you should, in catering kitchens, prepare it on a purple chopping board. For today's lesson, I'm going to be using the majority of a green chopping board and also a purple chopping board for one of the ingredients that I have got on my desk, okay? So I'm just going to move the brown board out the way so I've got a bit more room. Other equipment, I've got 2 types of knives. I've got a chef's knife and I've got a paring knife. You will have different sharp knives at home, but you will need a sharp knife for this lesson. I don't want your parents to be sitting there thinking, oh my god, you're not allowed to use sharp knives, okay? Because if you were in school in year 7, you would be using a chef's knife, because we want to challenge you, but we want to teach you as if you were in a catering college, okay? But I will give you all the correct health and safety rules, how you would use this correctly and safely. However, it's about you and your confidence. So if you don't feel confident using a knife this size, then go to a paring knife, a smaller knife which you feel more confident with, okay? And that's the advice that we give all of our students in year 7, 8 or 9. Choose a knife that you are most confident with, okay? Not what you just want to have a go on, okay? Then we've got a tablespoon to a large spoon. We then would use an ignition stick, which again, I'll show you what this is for very shortly. But at home, you might not need an ignition stick because you might have an electric hob or a halogen hob. So therefore, all your ignition would be actually inbuilt within your cooker, but we have to use ignition sticks due to the equipment that we've got. You'll then need a colander, so not a sieve, a colander, okay? And then we will need a grater, and I've already got as well a saucepan of boiling water in here, halfway up into the pan with boiling water to cook our pasta. Then our ingredients, we've got some pasta, okay? I'm using a penne pasta, but you could use a macaroni, you could use a farfalle if you wanted to, you could use a butterfly, completely up to you, but you want a small type of pasta. You don't want a spaghetti or a vermicelli, you don't want long strands of pasta for this. I've then got some cherry tomatoes, I've then got some cucumber. Again, obviously you can't buy them this size, you would have to buy it either in a half portion or a full length cucumber, so just cut it down for what you want to use it for. I've then got a carrot, I've then got a piece of celery, and I've got some dressing, okay? Now, the celery is an ingredient kind of like Marmite. You either like it or you don't like it. So it's up to you if you want to use this, okay? But one of the good things about this particular practical is that you can mix up the ingredients. So if you didn't like sweet corn, you could swap it with pepper. If you didn't like mushrooms, you could swap it with maybe, sorry, if you don't like tomatoes, you could swap it with raw mushrooms if you like raw mushrooms, okay? So try and have a think of some of the vegetables that you like and try and include them as well. Again, I'm going to give you some really good tips on that cooking technique. The first thing I need to do though is I need to get my pasta cooked, because right now it is dried and raw, okay? So, in my pan of boiling water, I'm going to place my pasta into my pan. I'm just going to give it one little stir so it doesn't stick together. And I'm going to place it on a medium heat. If you've got an electric hob, I would advise you to be putting it on a medium number, so maybe 2 or 3. If you've got halogen or induction, again, you will know what your temperature control is best, but always a medium number or level. If you've got gas like I have, it's going to be obviously in between the large flame and the small flame. So just look at your own hob, see what you've got, and turn it to a medium heat, okay? The one thing I don't want is I don't want it on a high heat, okay? I'm going to let that, bring it to boil, and I'm going to boil it for about a good 5 minutes and then simmer for another 5 minutes and it will be cooked, okay? And I'll talk to you about how you know pasta is cooked when the time is up, okay? So then, while that's waiting, you can then start to prepare your other ingredients, okay? So obviously, with my sweet corn, that's prepared. I don't need to do anything else with that, okay? I've just taken it out of a tin, and I can leave that alone. Obviously, my cherry tomatoes need some preparation. My cucumber does as well, my carrot does as well, and my celery does as well, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is my tomatoes, okay? You're going to prepare your cherry tomatoes, okay? So using whatever knife you wish, and on obviously for me a green chopping board. You guys might not have coloured chopping boards at home, and that's absolutely fine. We are not using any raw meat or any high-risk food, so you shouldn't need to worry about any cross-contamination. All I would advise is that you do have a clean chopping board ready to use, okay? So with your cherry tomatoes, where you can see kind of where the stalk would be, okay? With your sharp knife, you want to use a grip called the bridge grip, okay? Now the bridge grip looks like this, and you will hold your food between your thumb and your fingers, and again it's like a bridge, so therefore your knife is going to go through here. So to show you an actual kind of in a live demonstration, imagine this is the bridge, your knife is the train, it goes through the bridge, and on the way back it's going to cut into the tomato, okay? Now you've got it into a half here. Now once you've got it into a half, it's really important that it goes on a flat side. The flat side is really important because if it isn't on a flat side, it will rock, and therefore that is unsafe, okay? So it's important that whenever you cut something in half, you then turn it onto a flat side. Now I'm just going to use the other knife because again I want to show you that they are both exactly kind of the same really, but it's up to you and your confidence. So again, bridge grip, making sure you're holding the piece of ingredient between your thumb and your fingers, knife through it, bring it back, and then we're going to quarter them. Now the reason we're going to quarter them is like kind of a grape, because they are a choking hazard and we don't want anyone obviously to eat our food and to accidentally be choked, okay? So if you only cut your tomatoes in half, there is still a slight risk that, say, a young child, okay, might choke on it. So therefore, if you cut it into quarters, it's a lot thinner and it's smaller than your food pipe, okay? So therefore, it will easily fall down, okay? So I'm just going to carry on doing that. I'm going to quarter all my tomatoes. I've got about 6 to 8 in total. But I really wouldn't worry if you don't have the exact same ingredients for this practical, because you can literally just look into your fridge or your cupboard and see what you've got, see what would go into a salad, see what goes well with pasta, and just use those, okay? Now, my pan is starting to boil, so you'll be able to see some bubbles on it. So I'm going to leave that for 5 minutes before I turn my heat down, okay? Because right now, I want my pasta to be cooking to go in quite, not too soft, but softer than what it was. But I am just going to give it a quick little stir, just so it isn't sticking to the bottom of my pan, okay? Now some people might have said, well, you should have used a wooden spoon there, Mr. Purdy, because obviously metal is a conductor of heat. But again, as you can see, I only put the spoon in the water for literally 2 or 3 seconds, so therefore it isn't going to conduct any heat, okay? So my tomatoes are now prepared, and I'm just going to place them into an empty, clean mixing bowl, okay? So place them straight in there. Then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add my sweet corn into here as well. I'm going to remember to try and keep as tidy as you're going along, so keep everything in nice and order. Then your cucumber, okay? So with your sharp knife, place it on its flat side, okay? And then cut it into probably centimetre strips lengthways, okay? Then split it in half, so you've got 2 here and 2 here, and then turn them over so they're on the flat side, okay? Remember, the flat side is really important. Now this is a new little key thing that I want you all to learn, okay, from this practical. Whenever you are preparing a vegetable or an ingredient, and if you are unsure how to prepare it, obviously tomatoes have a particular way of being prepared, okay? But also, some people might just leave those cherry tomatoes in whole. That's up to you. But we want to prepare them because we want to develop our knife skills. But the key thing I would always tell you is S and D, okay? S and D. Now, S and D stand for something, and they stand for slice and dice, okay? And when you come back to us in year 8, you will notice that a lot of your food teachers, me or Miss Goose, will say to you, S and D, S and D. And it's a key thing for you to remember that S and D means you slice it and then you dice it, okay? So diced is little cubes, slicing is long strips, okay? So I've sliced it into 4, but like I said, I've balanced it on top of it. So I've got 1 there and 1 there because I need my flat side to be on the actual chopping board. So I'm going to slice it now into 2 or 3 strips again. Try and keep it all together, and I'm going to dice it. So I've sliced again, and I'm going to dice it. Now I've done that quite slow on purpose to show you that the key thing about slicing and dicing is to try and make sure that your pieces are a consistent size. Because if you've got 1 large piece of cucumber and a small piece of cucumber, you are going to have a different texture or mouthfeel of those ingredients compared to your tomatoes or your sweet corn. So it's important that the size is consistent, okay? So I'm just going to put that other side, the prepared piece into my bowl. And then, as I said, I've sliced it. And if you can remember what grip I used, what was that grip called? Can you remember? I'll give you 3 seconds to have a think out. What was that grip called? Yes, it was the bridge grip. Well done. I'm now going to use the claw grip. So I've sliced it using bridge grip. And now I'm going to use the claw grip to dice it. And the claw grip is going to look like that, okay? Now what's really important, if you can see, is that my fingernails are slightly behind my kind of knuckle, my first knuckle of my finger, okay? And that's because with my knife, I do not want my fingernails being touched, I want my knuckle to be touching it. So therefore I've got a guard, okay? And what you need to remember is, when you put your knife, the tip of your knife, onto your chopping board, I don't want to hear noise like this, okay? I want to hear a nice smooth action. So, claw grip, so making sure you've got grips of it all. On your knuckle, press down, move it away, and then move down the cucumber, okay? Take it nice and slow if this is the first time that you're using either a large knife or even a paring knife and you are in the kitchen with a knife, okay? If your parents want to watch it, then they can. But remember, we are here to trust you and challenge you. If you were in our kitchens right now, I wouldn't be able to be standing next to every single one of you. I would give you a demonstration and you would go away and listen to what I'm saying, and then you can do what I've been modeling for you, okay? But again, the key thing is having that consistency of size, okay? A similar sizing for all of your ingredients, and then place your cucumber into your mixing bowl. Now you can see here, I've got a lovely array of colours already. I've got green, yellow, red, okay? And as they say, you should eat a rainbow. You should want to be eating a colourful diet to help you get all those nutrients into your body so that you do have a healthy and fit body, okay? Then we're going to get into our carrot. So, top and tail it. Now, top and tail means I'm going to cut up the top and I'm going to cut up the bottom. The top, tail, okay? So again, using claw grip, I'm just going to cut the top off and I'm going to cut the bottom off. Those two are rubbish, so keep that away. Now obviously, I've done that for 2 reasons. You might be thinking, oh, you've done it maybe to have a flat side. No, I haven't, because a flat side is pointless with a carrot, because that's going to be too dangerous to cut, okay? I've already washed it, so I'm not going to peel it, because you can eat the skin of a carrot. And also, the nutrients in most vegetables are actually under the skin. So if you peel the skin off, there's a risk of you getting rid of the nutrients, okay, just like with a potato as well. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grate it. Now the grating means it's a very small size, okay, so therefore you get a nice development of texture, a nice balance of flavour, okay, but it's also another skill that you are developing. So using the larger size of your grater, place your grater on your chopping board and just grate it. Now when you get to the bottom of your carrot, you obviously will need to be careful that your nails or your fingertips do not get cut on the grater. Let's be honest, the worst thing you want in your salad is a bit of fingernail, yeah? So just carry on grating it until you get to the very, very bottom. And then when you get too near the bottom where your fingertips are at risk of being cut, then you would stop, and that is all the carrot that you are going to use, okay? So you're going to get little ribbons of carrot here. You might be thinking, oh, it's a bit quiet now, but you need to be focusing on your carrots, on your grater anyway, okay? So don't worry about it being quite silent for a minute. Now, again, some people might be saying, well, I want to carry on developing my knife skills, so can't I slice and dice the carrot? You could slice and dice the carrot, but the texture of the carrot is quite hard. So again, with a mixture of the ingredient of your cucumber and your sweet honey tomato, it might not be the most pleasant mouthfeel, okay? Whereas a grated carrot will be. However, if you were going to slice and dice it, then your preparation of ingredients always depends on the type of dish that you are making. So if you were going to slice and dice it, you'll probably be using the carrots for maybe shepherd's pie, or a curry, or a chilli if you want the carrot in there as well, okay? Now I've got to the very, very bottom, and I'm going to stop there. So you can see here I've got a tiny little bit left, okay? So not much waste at all. I'm just going to turn my hob down, because as you can see, it's been boiling on for 5 minutes. So I've turned it right down now, okay? And I'm going to leave it for another 2-3 minutes so that I can prepare the rest of my vegetables. So with my carrot, lift your grater up. And then place your carrot into your mixing bowl. And then the last piece of ingredient that you are going to prepare is your celery. Now again, your celery is something that you might not like, okay? Some of your family might like it, so it is an optional ingredient. But as I've said to you, and I'm going to say it again, you can be flexible with the ingredients that you're using here. In school, you would have got these ingredients, okay? Because there's a reason why, because we want you to develop a certain amount set of skills. But at home, if you've got mushrooms, if you've got pepper, then again, prepare them well, slice and dice them, and place them into your mixing bowl, okay? So with your celery, because I said to you before, this is one of the allergens, which people can be allergic to celery, okay? I'm going to use my purple chopping board. So, I'm just going to swap over to this one, so that we don't have any cross-contamination happening at all. And I can use the same knife, even without washing it, because I'm not going to be using it on anything else, okay? Because it's the last piece of ingredient that I'm preparing. Because there's been an order to why I've prepared those ingredients in that way. Like with the carrot, I'm going to top and tail it. So remind me, shout back at me, okay? What does top and tail mean? You've got 3 to 5 seconds to shout back. What does top and tail mean? Well done. It means cut the top off and cut the bottom off. We're not going to cut off too much of it though, okay? Only a little bit at the top. And again, turn it round, and a little bit at the bottom. But actually, thinking about it, we might want to cut off a bit more because we've got more of the root. You can see here that it's quite pale. So when it gets to being quite dark, or darker green, we're going to cut it off there, okay? So cut that off. And then we're going to slice and dice it. So we're going to slice it in half, using our bridge grip, and then we're going to use our core grip, and we're going to make it nice and small. So take your time with this one if you need to. So my fingertips are well away from the blade. I'm using my knuckle as that guard so that when my knife comes near it, I've got some protection in place. I'm not going too far because I want you guys to maybe try and keep up with me, okay? So if you didn't have celery on your original list, that's absolutely fine. Like to just maybe do the pepper. If you want any help preparing a pepper, feel free to email me. And I can help you with that. I can send you some video links to that as well, okay? And then add your celery into your ingredients. Now, from a nutritional point of view, we are encouraged to eat 5 a day, and I'm sure you all know what 5 a day means. 5 a day means eating 5 portions of fruit or vegetables every single day to help the development and the growth and the general healthiness of our bodies and lifestyle. We've got 5 ingredients in here. We've got our tomatoes, our sweet corn, our carrot, our cucumber and our celery. But are they 5 portions? Well, to clarify what a portion is, there's 2 ways of doing that. One is it's a handful. So if we were able to pick up our tomatoes and it would complete our handful, then yes, that is 1 portion of a day. Or if you want to measure them, it's 80 grams for the 1 portion, okay? So remember though, we've all got different sized hands because we all need different amounts of food to help our bodies grow and to be full of nutrients and vitamins and minerals, etc. So for me, I would have a larger hand than one of you guys in the year 7, okay? So therefore, I would need more than you do. So it might mean that you might be only using 3 or 4 tomatoes to fit a handful, but I will use more because I can pick up a handful. Now, I'm not saying to go into the supermarket with your parents and start picking up fruits and vegetables and saying, look, this is one of my 5 a day, okay? Because obviously that's hygiene issues, but that's a good way when you take your stuff home. You can then, if you want to start measuring what is 5 a day, use your hand as that size because it's accurate to your body, okay? Whereas 80 grams might be too much for your body, okay? So just take that into consideration when you are doing it, when you are thinking about 5 a day and trying to eat a healthy diet. So my pasta is now cooked, okay? So I'm going to tear my hob off. And what I'm carefully going to do is I'm going to get 1 piece of pasta out. Now, the pasta shouldn't be too hard at all. And it's what we call al dente. Now, al dente is an Italian word for to bite. So that means when we bite into this pasta, it shouldn't be too soft, and it certainly shouldn't be too hard, okay? But there still should be a bit of texture or kind of firmness to the pasta piece, okay? So to test that, I can use a knife here. So I can just cut it in half. And if you look in the pasta, you'll be able to see that there's no kind of white residue in the middle, and that's because it's being now kind of hydrated enough with the water that that's gone. But then also, it's cooking. Taste your food, okay? So if I taste that now, perfect. It's got a little bit of a bite to it, okay? So it's got a bit of firmness, but it's still nice and it's got a lovely texture on my palate. So make sure, as cooking, you taste your food as you go along. Now, in schools, we wouldn't always encourage that because you have a habit of double dipping, which means you don't wash your spoon afterwards. But at the end of the lesson or in demonstration, we will definitely be encouraging you to taste the food. So therefore, you can develop your palate, your understanding of food, and the differences of texture and taste and aroma and appearance, okay? So, bit of health and safety now. We need to drain our pasta. That is why we're going to use our colander, okay? So, we need to take our colander and our saucepan over to your sink, okay? So you're going to follow me into my sink here, yeah? Now you can see I'm going to leave my colander in the bottom of my sink, okay? There's nothing else in the sink, okay? If your parents are with you and they want to help you, then they can, that's absolutely fine. But in school, this is how we do it. You put your colander in the bottom of the sink. You need to make sure that you are standing by your sink, but your face is not directly over the colander. Because if you think about it, the steam when it's released is going to come into your face, and with someone like glasses with me, it might fog them up, but also it can obviously hurt your skin, okay? But on the other side, you don't want to be bent backwards so you can't see what you are doing. So it's very important that you just stand straight up and you use your eyes to look down and you carefully, not from a height, as close as you can, just pour the pasta and the water into the colander, okay? Leave your pan to one side and then give it a shake, give it a drain, and then we need to cool it down with cold water. So put your cold water tap on and you're going to wash it, or not wash it, sorry, you're going to cool it for 10 seconds, okay? Give it a shake as you go along to make sure it's all nice and cold. Okay. Now remember, if it was hot pasta, it would kind of develop a not a pleasant texture with our other ingredients because they're not warm. Okay. So give it a shake. Place it back on your saucepan, and then walk back over to where you were originally working. And then you can start the final stage. Okay. So you've now got. Let me just tidy up my desk a little bit. There we go. You've now got a mixing bowl full of your vegetables, your salad vegetables, okay, which are lovely and bright. You've got all that colour in there, remembering as well that you've got all that colour because you want to be eating that rainbow, yeah? And then you're going to add your cold pasta into here. So now you've got some of your starchy carbohydrates in here as well. So add that into your bowl, and with your tablespoon, you want to mix it together really, really well. You want to make sure that all of those vegetables are broken up, they're not stuck together. And so you can see we've got a lovely variety of colour and textures, and it does look absolutely beautiful, okay? So you know that you're going to be eating a really, really, really nutritional dish, okay? Then we're going to add our dressing. Now, the dressing, again, is up to you. We've got a French dressing from Morrison, but again, you can make your own if you wanted to. You could make a lemon juice and oil dressing. I always have a jar of that in my home all the time, so I can just pour it over some lettuce leaves if I want a little quick snack. You could do a Caesar dressing. You can even get kind of chili dressing or soy dressings. It's up to you. So think of maybe what you like or what your family likes, or what you've got left in the fridge. Okay, you might have just a little bit left of a bottle of dressing. But if you've got a lemon, you've got some olive oil, make your own. And again, if you want any more help or advice on dressing, then please just give me an email or message me on my homework, and I'll get back to you ASAP. Okay? So with the dressing, I'm just going to add probably 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of it. So use your tablespoon that you've been using to mix it together in. Add a little bit more, so 1.5 probably. Now you don't want to overpower the salad with the dressing, okay? Because the dressing does add flavour, but you want to taste all the flavour from the cucumber and from the sweet corn, etc. So it's about just having a nice balance of flavours. And with the amount of ingredients that you've got, 1 to 1.5 tablespoons of that dressing is plenty. You just want it to give it a nice coating. You don't want it to be drowned in the actual dressing, okay? And there you have it, Year 7. You've got a nice, colourful, textured, tasty pasta salad. You can change your pasta, you can change the vegetables, you can change the dressing. So it's up to you if you want to develop the different elements of the dish to make it suitable for you and your family's taste at home. You can have it in a bowl as a lunch, or you can have it on a side with something hot, so some chicken, some corn, or even like a lasagna or something if you wanted maybe just some more colour on your plate. It's up to you, but it's a really, really tasty dish. Once you've prepared it, put it into either a lockable or airtight container. If you can, try and write the date on it when it was made, and it should be able to last 2 to 3 days, okay? But trust me, it won't last that long because it is a really, really tasty dish. Enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed all the 3 lockdowns all 3 cook-alongs throughout lockdown. If you've got any questions over the 3 sessions that we've done, or anything that you are making at home, please just email me and ask me any questions. But please keep sharing the amazing work that you are producing throughout lockdown. On behalf of the technology department, we are super, super impressed, and we can't wait to have you in our kitchens next year. Keep safe, take care, and thank you for watching.